On tonight's Next Time Try this segment, we're going to be talking about how to get a dent out of your pipe. This has been a topic on the show many, many times. We've often spoken about it, but I've never had the opportunity to make a video. We're going to get a closer look at some of the tools that we're going to be using to perform this little task. And yeah, it's really nothing more than this, which I'll give you a closer look at, and you'll understand how they work, and a bottle of MAP gas just like this. If you have a torch, that's always good too. So let's get a closer look and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, there are two caps that go on the end of the pipes and they look just like this. This one will go on the back of your pipe where the stinger is. As you can see, the circumference of that piece of steel is a little bit narrower than it would be at the front. In between these two pieces of steel, the plate on the back and this circular piece, is a piece of rubber. When you put this thing on the pipe and you tighten up these three bolts, you're then going to tighten up these two bolts, and it's going to draw closer to the pipe and cause a seal between this piece of rubber. The piece that goes on the front, of course, at your header is a little bit bigger. They make these things quite large so they will fit a variety of different pipes, and basically it works the same way. The circular piece of steel, the three bolts, of course, the rubber, that causes it to seal. Right here you'll see there's a little hole in there. The purpose of that is, of course, to get the air, which you're going to use from your compressor. You're going to get air into the pipe, and you have a little gauge right here. We'll talk more about the pressure in just a minute. But basically, that is what these two little caps are. That's how they work. Let's put them on the pipe, and we'll continue on from there. First thing you want to do is maybe run these bolts in a little bit, just so the end of your pipe, the stinger, fits in there. This way you can run them down comfortably and make sure it's tight. You also want to leave a little gap. In other words, you don't want to tighten these end bolts too much. You want to have a little gap in there so when you do tighten them, it presses down on the rubber, giving you a good seal. One thing I should have mentioned earlier too is you do want to make sure your pipe doesn't have any leaks in it. If there are any seams in your pipe that are cracked, you're going to want to make sure that you get those things sealed up so you don't have any leaks on the way. Now you can see there's a little gap right in there, so when I tighten these two bolts from the outside, we'll get a really good seal on the end of that pipe. Make sure everything is snug on here, especially these three bolts that go to the stinger. There's going to be some pressure in that pipe. It won't blow off, there's not going to be an explosion, but what will happen is it'll start to leak. You'll know right away because you'll be losing pressure. You'll see that from the gauge, plus you'll also probably be able to hear that. And here's the dent, by the way, that we're going to be working on. And we're going to do the same thing on this end. We'll run the bolts in a little bit. Tighten up these guys a little bit. And we should have a good seal there. We're going to add some air to the pipe. I bring it up to around 40 pounds. From there, you're going to take your torch and you're going to want to keep it toward the edge. Heat up the edge, in other words, of the dent first. You want to heat it up. You're going to get it cherry red. Again, I'm only using MAP gas here, but it works really, really well. So I go around to the edge of my dent, and slowly, gradually, you'll see that the air pressure does bring up the dent in the pipe. Well, there it is. I hope you enjoyed our little demonstration. There's still a little smoke coming out of that thing. But anyway, you can see that the dent has been removed. Remember, about 40 pounds of air pressure. You want to keep that area cherry red when you're doing it. Check your pipes for leaks before you begin. If you do have a pinhole here or there, you just need to keep the air pressure at 40 pounds. If you could repair those little dents with some brazing, that would really be best. Then you don't have to play with the pressure too much. And I did it all with these two pieces like this and a little MAP gas. Okay. So next time you get a dent in a pipe and you want to try and take it out and make it look a little more presentable, try that. There was one thing I wanted to bring to your attention I didn't put in the video. I sanded the pipe after I got most of the dent out, and I advise you to do the same thing. Let it cool off, and then after that, look at where you've repaired the dent. You might have a few little low spots, just like you see here. Repeat the process. With the caps on, heat it up again. Just work on those dents, though. Concentrate the heat from the torch onto those little dents, and they'll rise too. The purpose of that, I'd rather you do it 2 times than raise it and make it too hot once and try and get it all out at once. It's better to do it a couple of times and make it nice and even than to try and get it all out at once.